Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. So the newest movie from Anna Kendrick is called Alice Darling, and it is being called the breakthrough performance of her entire career. So it's very good. It's very subtle. And the plot line is a drama about a woman who is in an emotionally abusive relationship who finds refuge with her two friends during a getaway. So we have her boyfriend playing Simon, played by Charlie Carrick, and her two friends. We have Tess, played by Kay Horn, and Sophie, played by W. Musaku. They have really intricate, beautiful names, and I didn't want to mispronounce them. But Tess and Sophie are basically Alice's refuge in her time of turmoil in this emotionally abusive relationship. So I'm going to read you guys the review from the New York Times. I feel like it's really intricate and it is very eloquent explaining the nuances of this movie. So it begins when the title character in Alice Darling makes her entrance. She looks the picture of the modern liberated happy woman. From the outside, Alice, played by Anna Kendrick, seems to have it all in a career, dear friends, a nice Toronto pad, and an attentive boyfriend. If you look closer, though, you can see the issues surrounding her smile. The longer you look, the numerous and more deeper the cracks appear, making the impeccable image that Alice presents to the world seeming so precariously fragile. And I'm going to just pause with the review and say that that's something that is so relatable and resonates with so many women, right? That most times people put on a mask because they're scared to let people in. And this movie just really conveys all of those frailties when it comes to interpersonal relationships. So I'm going to continue with the review from the New York Times. It says Kendrick is a pleasant, personable, ever so slightly off presence. She is one of those performers who looks like someone you know or would like to. She's a fine actress with a natural charm, and part of her appeal is that she excels at playing characters who seem recognizably real. Kendrick looks like a pal, someone you went to high school with, although maybe we didn't get stoned with because she comes across so straight. That is, if you ignore that she can also seem awfully tightly wound, like someone who needs to keep it together, like someone who is performatively normal. The sense that there is more going on underneath Kendrick's likable persona works well, both for her character for this movie and for real life. So this story tracks Alice as she's struggling to break free from her emotionally abusive lover and her paralyzing fears. Like everything else in Alice's life, her boyfriend Simon looks good from the outside. He's successful, he's an artist who's worried about an upcoming gallery show. He's nice looking as well, though his behavior, how he looms over Alice, how he scowls, the contempt that creeps into his voice, the insults that he rains down on her, makes him very ugly. And still, she loves him. The story revs up when Alice takes a trip with her two friends from her childhood, Sophie and Tess. Together, they set off to the countryside, where Sophie's parents have a waterside house. So the plan is to hang out and celebrate Tess's birthday. And the trip gives Alice an excuse to get away from Simon, who haunts her both in her sleep and her waking hours. Mostly, though, it allows the movie to get down to its unsurprising business, to cue the warm looks and fond memories, to booze the booze and the pinpricks of unease, some face-offs, and a reckoning. So this movie was written by Alana Francis and directed by Mary Knighty, and it's very jittery and the intriguing premise that invokes classic gaslighting films. So I feel like that was the theme throughout the film, right? So Alice's rotten relationship and her inability to accept the truth about Simon, it really stirs up tension and it makes you feel like something serious is at stake. Like you're worried about her from the beginning. And once the story moves to the country, though, it kind of shifts to the aspect of the female friendship. So I would just say her friends are very protective of her, and rightly so, because they see Alice as someone who was once bubbly and had it all together start to really unravel. Like, for instance, one thing that got me was she couldn't be really truthful. She's so worried about her boyfriend's reactions, and her whole world revolves around him. And of course, him being the classic narcissist that he is, his character, right? He's just eating that up. So he needs her for that narcissistic supply. And I don't know if you guys ever met anyone like that or have been in a relationship like that, but you know how draining and exhausting that it can be to always be under someone's watchful eye, or to feel like, they're always questioning, what are you doing? Where are you going? Et cetera, et cetera. So I will say there's some triggers in this. Just as a content creator, I always like to warn my audience that there are some triggers for self harm, gaslighting, emotionally abuse, things like that that I really want you guys to be aware of. But I really enjoyed this movie because it is something that resonates with so many people, especially so many young women. And hopefully, the men can take away from this that they can also speak up against, you know, any type of emotional abuse or degradation or any type of negativity toward women. It doesn't always have to be women coming to each other's rescue. Men actually do listen to other men. And so in this case, I really feel like her friends were just amazing. Like, they were really good friends throughout the entire movie. And again, not going to give you a spoiler toward the end, but I can appreciate the subtleties and the nuances throughout the movie that really conveyed Alice's unraveling and then building herself back up from the ashes, like the phoenix, right? So I want to know if you guys have seen this yet. I think it's still in theaters, but let me know if you, again, have ever, watched a gaslighting movie. There's, a ton of them. I know Jennifer Lopez was in one with Enough, and, Farrah Fawcett was famous for hers with the bed and the fire. Um, but yeah, it's a real issue. And I'm glad that, people are still making art that reflects life. Art does imitate life and life imitates art. But we need to have a lot more serious conversations about not only physical abuse, but mental abuse and financial abuse, and, you know, provide a lot more support systems for young women to leave these situations. Because, I mean, there's a lot of really unhinged people out there, and there's scary situations. But I'm so glad that this character Alice, had a support system of such amazing friends by her side that could help her navigate, through this and find a safe place to land after being in such a tumultuous relationship. So let me know if you guys have seen it, are planning on seeing it or not. Um, Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I will talk with you later. Take care. Bye.